Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. It is late, almost 4 o'clock p.m., but I have just found it hard to get things done today. I got to bed late, did not sleep well, got up late, and have had a difficult time finding motivation to get things done, and so largely haven't. But while I haven't done a lot yet, I am going to be doing things later. Unfortunately, because of the weather and such, and being trapped because of the weather, I have been going back to previous habits of waiting until it's dark before I go out. Because frequently, I can't go out while the sun is up because it's raining or it's just nasty and not worth the danger. So I've been going out after the sun goes out again, usually around 8 o'clock and not 6 miles, so it's not 2 hours, but still. Thumbs up. Yay! I have things written down over on a topics list, so I'm going to be looking over in that direction, but that's just to try and remember things, because there are things I want to talk about that aren't on the list that I'm not going to be able to remember. Unfortunately. Still though, taking a look here, what I do have though is Final Girl and recordings and all that. First I'm going to start with, I do want to record some Final Girl as the next actual physical solo RPG type thing that I do. And one of the things that I've been figuring out on my own while watching people rank videos, the feature films of the game and all that, because you've got a killer and a location and a final girl in each box, and because all of the powers of the killer are tied to the killer and all the powers of the location are tied to the location, you can mix and match all three of those to have, you're going to have largely the same experience each time. You're trying to kill the killer that's trying to kill you, but it's how you do it and what killer there is in the place that you are. Now, a lot of places will do rankings on, they rank the final girls, they rank the locations, they rank the killers. Now, one thing that's weird is to get it into your head, locations are as much a character as the characters are. Even though it's a piece of board, and then you're just moving the counters around on the board, because of the layout of the board, because of the special rules that can be given for a location, because there's a Nightmare on Elm Street-like feature film version of it, and each of the places you're moving through makes sense thematically. It is a road, and there are houses, and you can't just burst into the house. You have to use the special cards that come with the location to allow them, you have to convince them to let you in so that you can search the place. And then the special power tied to the killer is the killer can't kill you in the waking world. You can be all over the board and right in your face, and it cannot hurt you in the waking world. You have to enter the sleeping minigame for the killer to be able to hurt you, and for you to be able to hurt the killer. So the locations can be as much of a character as the actual characters, which is cool. And I'm looking forward to getting more of the feature films of all the characters. So far I've been lucky. Well, some of the people doing rankings have put the the ones that I have with Hans and Geppetto, and Geppetto uses puppets, which puppets are extra minions that run around on the map, but because they're on strings, they can't go more than 2 squares away from Geppetto. And then if you kill a puppet, it goes into the exhausted portion of the card, and then goes to refreshed, and then comes back on the map. So Geppetto always has an endless supply of puppets. Yay! But you get to play mix and match like that. So you could put Geppetto onto the Alien VHS type film where he's going through an alien spacecraft. So thumbs up for that. But checking over here on my list, two things I wanted to say. Number one was a quick short story. I was watching a film, thick saliva, my apologies. I was watching this one fellow do a playthrough, and he was playing with Geppetto. He had the unfortunate event where there were a lot more characters, a lot more victims spawned on the board. And so he ended up with 4 victims all inside of the big tent. It was a tent. And the terror card that came up was a trap. And the trap card that came up was these spinning blades. And all 4 of those meeples, those victims that had just been placed on the board, were all hacked into meat salad by the blades. And so you move the meeples to the dead pile. And that was like, that's bad luck, because that instantly pushes the killer's bloodlust up 4. The killer didn't do a thing, and all of a sudden things were ramping up. So thumbs up on that. Now, I don't know if I've done it, and I just think it's both funny and horrific. But I want to combine it down to a short, which means I'm never going to do it because it requires a special editing. But it's like talking about how, oh, the killer moves into this square. And then you move, the red killer meeple into the square that has a victim meeple. Because that's when you talk about, oh, there's the victim meeple. That's Robin. Robin's not had a very good life. Things have been bad, but now 23 years old, she's got work friends, she's got after work friends, and finally 23, she's getting her friends together and they're going to go to this carnival. But she went there and she got to see her friends murdered one by one, and now she's being chased through the forest by this hulking presence. And then, she's fallen onto the ground in fear, in terror, crab walking backwards in the darkness until, she can't go any further. Looking upward, it's dark. She can't figure out that she's got her back to a tree. And then she's looking, that's when the clouds part, to reveal this hulking meat mountain of a man with his human blood soaked butcher's apron, carrying this gigantic sledgehammer, also coated in human blood, and he's just stalking toward her. And when he gets about 5 feet away, he lifts that hammer above Robin's head. She can't even scream. She's in so much terror, looking upward, seeing his arms ripple, and he brings that hammer down. And you take her victim piece and you put it in the dead pile. And that's when you cut from the very, very dramatic intenseness to, hey, it's happy and friendly and over. It's one of those things that I like that's done not as often as it could be, often in psychological thrillers and horror, where when they ramp it up, they're ramping up the background stuff. Audio design and audio work is an intense field. Pay attention to soundscaping, both in the music that you consume and in motion video that you consume. Sound work is incredible. They do literal things where, because silence sounds different, before recording, they empty out an area where they're going to record, and they record it with no one there. Now, if they're going to have background people doing background stuff, they record that with someone there because it sounds different. Now, where was I going with this? Trying to remember. Yes, you're ramping up that background. You're bringing in a repeating noise, a low bass that's getting upward until he raises that hammer in with the whole rhythm of it, and that's when you stop for total silence. It's like running into a brick wall. If you've listened to concept albums like the album Time, Dark Side of the Moon, the song Time on it. One of the things that happens is you are going through some music that is just absolutely soothing. And at the end of that period, when you are at your worst, it comes to absolute silence. Oh, if you're not prepared for that moment, because that is when an entire room full of alarm clocks goes off, starting with great big old Big Ben type clocks, not, grandfather clocks, and then other wind up type clock sounds, until it's a whole cacophony of alarm sounds. And if you're not prepared for it, given that brief moment of silence as a warning, it's a shocker. If you happen to be using any sort of medicinal substances. Good album, just, oh boy, be prepared. But yeah, thumbs up for that. Past that, checking my list over there, yes, with the writing stuff that I've been doing, it's just patchwork. I talked about why I've been trying to do it, because I need an actual plot when I'm writing, and while I can write the cryptid stuff, it's like, and I don't know if I'll leave that in or not, it's like you build something up and it's on a hill, and it takes effort to walk up that hill to get to it. By the time you get to it, because you had to go up that hill, you're almost too exhausted just to open the gates. And by the time you do that, you're just too tired to do anything. And that's the problem. Because it is more than just silly, it has a deep emotional impact, consequence, feeling, I can't think of the right word right now, behind it. And because of that, it takes a lot of effort to get to it physically. So by the time I'm ready to write, I am exhausted and unable to. Which is why I've been trying to at least keep practicing until I can, if I ever can, by doing the minor stuff. Only the reason that I'm doing the minor stuff is because I need plot stuff to do, and the minor stuff doesn't have plot stuff because it's just goofy stuff. And if it gets to be more than goofy, it's probably going to be up too much of a hill. So there's kind of a conundrum. I'm working on it. I'm hoping. I'm still doing stuff. I was in fact doing some writing today. Not happy with it at all, but I have not been a good person to be around today, so it's a good thing I am an introvert and a recluse, because I have been the embodiment of pissy. Oh my God, it has just been terrible. I mean, IRL, I don't even kill bugs. And I cry when I look at pictures of baby animals. So IRL, I'm talking about stuff that I couldn't do. But in a world where I wasn't the kind of person that I am, now I can't remember where I was going with that. Seeing if I can figure out why and where. I know I was talking about I'm not this way, and for some reason I was going to talk about, like, popping caps and stuff. So, got a couple rocks for a bunch of people's pails to use a whole bunch of some slang that's used and some slang that show ain't, that was like antiquated 50, 60, 70 years ago. Rocks for pails. You know what a rock is. This is somebody's pail. So, okay? Yeah. For humor's effect, I don't actually think any viewers did that dance. But let me see. One of the things that I have been doing is uploading things to Canva. One of the things that I've been uploading to Canva to try and learn it and to try and make things better so I can show things off. There's a mini game from a company, Avalon. I call it company. It's like a, by this time, 12, 13-year-old RPG type system that they've had on, they sell it. And I was interested, so I bought all that stuff. Really super cheap. And then there was a bunch of pay what you want, which equals free. And so it's interesting. They're very board game like in the characters because they're presented as almost like the characters out of 8-Bit Dungeon or Tin Helm. But it seems to be interesting. But they had a booklet that was tiles as you go through dungeons. I uploaded that, clipped out the elements of the actual dungeon things themselves. So I've got all these dungeon tiles. Now that can be used for any game, so that's a thumbs up. Continuing to use it, trying to figure it out. It's a cool little system. Definitely a thumbs up on that. Anything on else here? The Caves and Catacombs, of course, is one of those things that hopefully I'm going to be coming back to soon again, because I need to start the combat that I had while I was showing the game. So that would be good. Definitely thumbs up. Did some adventuring. Definitely thumbs up on that. Oh yes, one of the big reasons I haven't really gotten anything else done is I have been playing a lot. And I say a lot because I just started it yesterday. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 3 New Vegas. Now, I've beaten it before on my own, just playing it in the past. And then I've played it a couple times for the channel, never getting far. Now, I'm hoping that this time I can actually, get through it and play it and win again, because losing is no way to honor the 6th house or the tribe unmourned. So hopefully I can win it again. One of the reasons that I want to do so is, even though I say, oh, I'm an Elder Scrolls big fan, oh, I'm a Fallout Scrolls big fan, even though I have not played more than a little bit of Fallout 4 and have no interest in ever playing it again. I have played a lot, by the terms of when it came out, of Skyrim. I have no interest in ever playing it again. They demographed me out. Somebody was talking about what the problem was with Starfield in a pretty big long video, and that's every game that Bethesda has done has disenfranchised the previous generation. Those people that liked Arena were put off by how Daggerfall ran. Those that liked Daggerfall didn't like how Morrowind was. Those who were really into Morrowind didn't like what they did with Oblivion. Those that liked Oblivion, not happy with what they did with Skyrim. But with each generation, the new group of people made up for all those that they had just pissed off. All the new people they picked up from making Oblivion made up for all those that they had lost, from Morrowind, and thus from Daggerfall, and thus from Arena. And then we get up to the current time, when after, forever and a day, they come out with Starfield, and they disenfranchised. When I say disenfranchised, I don't mean like voting. I mean it's like pissed off, which is the wrong word, but it's the only one I could think of. So rather than just going, I'm using a word and running with it. Unlike the other generations, they haven't picked up new people from Starfield. So they've lost a lot of people and haven't been able to make up for that. Now, they're not going to learn any lessons for the next generation of things because they've made a lot of money. And as somebody else was talking about in a different video, about there's the fellow email, I can't pronounce his last name, who's been the lead writer and story director, if you can call it that, for the game since forever. And then he's in charge of the game Starfield. And on a business end, he's being praised. They have made more money than ever before. The game has been ultra successful from a monetary side. So it's like, what madness can it be for him to look out to the internet and see us cursing him and calling him an idiot, when everyone in his life that counts is telling him he's a genius, because everyone voted with their wallets, and boy did it make money. So what does it mean that we're all calling him a bad writer? What does it mean that we're calling him a moron for having no design documents in their games? When on a monetary aspect, he's done nothing but good for Bethesda. So yeah. And then what else do I have on here is nothing else. So hopefully, as stated, I'm going to keep on going. I have been playing a character who is not speccing in guns. In fact, right now my guns are like less than 20, and I'm not putting anything in really into that. And I am going into unarmed, and so right now I've got a claw weapon, which for someone who's a beginning character, I'm leaving a lot of meat salad behind me with this thing, and I want to get a power glove so I can leave even finer chopped meat salad behind me as I go. My character is morally ambiguous. Generally does things for the right. Helped out the town of Good Springs. Will continue to do so. I saved my game before testing, like, can I shoot Sunny Smiles in the back of the head? Oh yeah, can I do this? But what would be the consequences? And the consequences were listed immediately, like, oh, these people don't like this happened, so I would reload. But there are some things where it's like, yeah, well, you're going to, I don't like, Caesar or any of this stuff, but you're gonna go feed someone to a gecko? Okay, I hope the gecko likes it. Did they commit a crime? Oh, that's not a question I'm going to ask. That's unimportant. I mean, you're going to feed someone to a gecko. That's the important part. Thumbs up. I approve. So, yeah. Past that, just doing what I've been doing, trying to live, trying to survive. I know going from talking about Fallout New Vegas to nothing is like that, building up the intensity and then brick wall of silence. But I've not been doing much, and I'm going to continue to doing probably not much, playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas. And I say that not having played any Fallout New Vegas today, but I have played Striving Light Survival, which I do want to play again for the channel because I have been playing a lot of that. And if I have played it already for the channel recently, I know I've done Halls of Torment recently, then hey, must be the dementia. Which hopefully I don't have, making jokes about it, but which is cruel to people that do have it, so my apologies. To all my Patreon patrons, thumbs up. Thank you, each and every one of you. You are beautiful and awesome people. Soon I shall have you up on this list again, but the most important thing you can get out of this, with you not being up here on this screen, is when you look in the mirror, remember, you are a beautiful and awesome person. Thumbs up and thank you. Your names will be up here again soon. For everybody that has left me a comment, you too are properly honoring the 6th house and the house unmourned. Thumbs up, thank you. I do appreciate every comment, and that is a very good thing, even when I can't answer many of them, which is not very often that I can. So thumbs up, thank you, it is appreciated. So until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is indeed a very good thing. Yay. So no fancy editing, just tapping the stopping editing, and probably soon again I'll start doing fun stuff, but boy oh boy.